Hey y'all, I'm back and I have more creepy stories that I'm super nervous to read. I picked out 3 of your paranormal stories. I cannot say the word paranormal right now to save my life. It probably sounds fine to you, but to me it sounds gibberish. It doesn't sound right. We're gonna get started, but I'm just gonna warn you now, the vet is coming. I do like an at-home vet. Rumble has an appointment today, and they come between like 9 and 12, but I thought I would just try to start the video, and if they come in the middle of it, whatever. If I get the video done, great. This first story says, the ghosts that I grew up with are still here. Hi Courtney, this is going to be a long one, so strap in. This is a collection of all of the ghost and paranormal experiences that have occurred over the past 23 years of my house life. For context and to help explain things, I have attached a picture of the layout of my house. I actually don't see that. I don't know, it might not have attached. I'm sorry, I don't see it in here, so we don't have the picture, but whatever, it's fine. We'll figure it out. I used to be scared, but now it makes me nervous. For context, my dad hand-built our house in 2000. My parents got married in December of 2000, and I was born the next December. My sister was born in October of 2003, so when I say that no one has lived or died in my house, absolutely nothing has happened in this house. It's all very strange, and we cannot come up with an explanation for why our house is so haunted. This is my mother's story. I live in Mississippi, and I learned how to drive a four-wheeler at a very young age. One day while my aunt and grandmother, maternal, were over, I went for a ride. My mom says when I got back, I began saying that I had seen my pawpaw. He had died 2 years before this. My mom says that I said he told me he was proud of me, so kinda sweet, kinda creepy. I believe that there are 3 entities in my house, and I will get to explain all of them, but for now we will start with the lady in red. I don't think she's bad, but I definitely have seen her on several occasions. She's about 5'5" with short, medium black hair and a bright red dress. She likes to stay in the kitchen area, but she'll walk the halls at night. Then there is the man in a hat. He's about 5'6", 5'8", he wears clothes from the 40s, a suit, and he wears this bowler hat that rounds on the top. My sister and I have both seen him so many times, and we still can't tell if he's good or bad. I don't think he's done anything, but he has appeared during very scary situations. Then there's a little girl. When I was little, I called her the Alexa ghost, named after my sister because she would pretend to be my little sister. I would walk down the hall from my room past the bathroom and see my sister brushing her hair, just to walk into the living room and see my actual sister sitting on the couch. These are the 3 that my family and I have identified, but I now think there is a 4th one that I can't seem to put my finger on. One day, I was home alone and I was sitting in the living room watching TV. I was sitting on the couch along the wall of my parents' bedroom when I heard knocking from the wall. I turned the TV down to listen for a bit, then turned the TV up and went to my room. The next day, I was telling my mother and sister what I had experienced. Mom was cooking and my sister was sitting on the opposite counter. I explained that I heard a knocking sound and knocked twice on the wall when something knocked back. We were all freaked out. It had knocked back the instant my knock was done, and it sounded exactly like I had knocked. I was probably like 12 at the time this happened. When my sister and I were little, she had severe attachment issues and would sleep in my bed for most nights. I very distinctly remember both of us seeing circles, both large and small, flying around the ceiling. The best way I know how to describe this is they were like shadows of circus circles. They weren't threatening, just there. Well, about 5 years ago now, I woke up very late at night. The end of my bed was facing my door and it was just dawning outside. In the doorway, I saw the man in the hat, or the shadowy man in the hat, as I've never seen any actual features. As I am seeing this man, I hear what sounds like chains outside on the porch. He then moved slightly towards me, then walked through the window and evaporated. That's crazy. It was so scary. I went under the covers, shaking, and slowly fell back asleep. I don't know, how did you fall back asleep after that? I would never sleep again. Looking back, I don't know how I did. A couple of days later, the local news was announced that someone had broken out of the local jail. So my dad had us go check and make sure that all of the windows were locked. That's when I told them about what I had seen a few nights ago. Then my sister piped up and said she had seen a dark black circle flying around her room before it flew towards the door where the man in the hat was standing. It was very creepy, but it did reassure me that I wasn't crazy. It might be because of this house or because of something else, but I feel like I have a sixth sense for these types of things. I can just feel them, their energy. Well, the little girl always seems to play with these energies. She tends to stay on my end of the house, peeking around corners, pulling on clothes, and grabbing, touching legs and arms. Like I said earlier, I would walk past the bathroom and see my sister brushing her hair just to walk into the living room and see her on the couch. I can also sometimes see her running from my room to my sister's when I'm at the end of the hallway. When we were younger, I wasn't scared. Now, however, I don't know. About 5 or 6 years ago, I was taking a shower and something weird happened. This bathroom is the one my sister and I used to share, and also the guest bathroom, so we're not shy about walking in if someone's showering or pissing. That's crazy. So while I was taking a shower, I heard the door open as if somebody needed to use the bathroom, and I assumed that it was my sister. I had my back turned towards the faucet when I felt someone poke me through the shower curtain as if she was trying not to get her hand wet. I peeked my head out and yelled, "Stop it, Alexa." I finished my shower, get dressed, and go to the living room where my mom and sister were sitting. Williams is on a different planet right now. Like, he's so hyper, it's insane. I'm sorry. She asked me what I was yelling at her about, to which I explained that she poked me in the shower. That was when my sister and mom shared puzzled looks and then told me they had been outside watching our dog Maggie and they had just come back inside. I started accusing them of lying and playing a prank on me. I didn't stop until both of them put their hand on the Bible and swore that they did not touch me. My first thought was to the little girl. Other little things happen all the time, like my sister and I hearing people walk in the attic that doesn't even have floors. Because when I read that before, like I skimmed that part and I was like, no, this is my sister's story. One day I was at my friend's house when I was in my very early teens. My sister did have attachment issues, so that night my sister, my mom, and my dad were in my parents' room. My mom and sister were lying on the bed making shadow puppets on the ceiling using the light from the bedside lamp. My dad was on the floor cleaning his hunting rifle. My mom's arms got tired, so she crossed her hands and laid them on her chest. So it was just my sister, and she was making a rabbit and a dog. Then she saw this shadow making a perfect rabbit. She tells my mom how good of a rabbit it was. That's when she noticed that my mom was not making any shadows and her hands were on her chest. Then they both looked at my dad and saw that both hands were on the rifle, and they both looked back at the ceiling and they saw the extra shadow hand hop and disappear. They were both freaked out as they told me this, but it was not the end. The next day they were back in my parents' bed when my dad's alarm clock started going off. They both look at each other confused, but my mom just switched it off. My sister then said that as soon as my mom hit the button to turn off my dad's alarm, her alarm started going off. So my mom reaches to turn off her alarm. Again, as soon as she switches it off, my dad's alarm starts going again, and this goes on for a while. Then at the same time, both clocks start playing a static sound. Then they both just shut off at the same time. They had both freaked themselves out again while they were telling this to me, and all I could think about was the little girl. Now, all of this happened before I even went to college. I'm confused about this next part. They said, I've left out a story about a missing ring, and then they said dozens of times. Oh, dozens of times we would see people around the corner, just like poking their head around the corner. Okay, just the way it was worded, I was a little confused, but I got it. Also, another note, we have carpet throughout the entire house, but at night, when everyone is asleep, you can hear footsteps on the carpet. I'll normally hear them walk into my room and right up beside my bed, but then they just walk right out. Now comes the more recent events. While I'm home from school, I develop a fucked up sleeping schedule. I wake up around 11 a.m. and fall asleep by 3 a.m. So one night around 12, I get up to take a shower. As I'm making my way to the bathroom, my dad walks around the corner from the kitchen and scares me to death. After calming down, I say, "Oh my God, you scared me to death," and walk into the living room to tell him to go to bed. He's not there. He's not in the kitchen, not in the living room, nowhere. Then I hear him snoring. I freak the fuck out and run into the bathroom. I still can't explain that because I swear I saw a pair of legs walk from the kitchen. Another night we were watching The Conjuring, so I know it was in our brains. But I saw something dart from one side of the hall to the other side, as if it was coming from my end of the house to my parents'. I was freaked out but didn't say anything because it could just be my mind playing tricks on me, until I noticed my mom also looking in that direction when her eyes got bigger. I stopped the movie and asked her if she had just seen a huge black mass dart across the hall. She jumps up and screams, "Yes," and we freak out while my dad just says, "What happened?" Now is a convenient time to tell you that my dad does not believe in anything that we have seen. He's even witnessed things that he can't explain, and he still refuses to believe in the paranormal, calling us crazy anytime we bring it up. No, that's insane. And then context for the next few stories. My sister got a serious boyfriend named Brody, who is now her fiance. He started spending the night with us while they were still just dating. During this time, I met my best friend in the whole world, Mary, who I still have sleepovers with. Early on in their relationship, Brody came by to eat supper with us. We were all in the kitchen when my mom, my sister, and I heard a "yeah" come from somewhere in the kitchen. No one was talking. All of us freaked out while the boys, Brody and my dad, asked us what was wrong. When we explained what just happened, they both said they heard it too, but assumed that it was us, which it was not. They insisted it was us, but it was a little girl's voice. Speaking of voices, you can hear people talking, calling your name, or several other things in this house all the time. It's very strange. The scariest time is my mom's story. She said that she was woken up in the middle of the night to a child screaming "Mama" outside of her window. She jumped up, ran outside, and saw no one. She went back to our rooms, saw us both asleep in our beds. Every time she tells this story, she looks terrified. No, that's so scary. So needless to say, we hear voices all the time, and this was Brody's first experience. One night, when Brody was spending the night with us, he went to take a shower. He started back to the end of the hall. That's when he stopped at my door with tears in his eyes. I ran to him and asked him what was wrong. He says, "Someone just touched me on my shoulder." He said he was walking back towards the bedroom when he felt someone grab his shoulder. He assumed it was one of us and turned around, expecting one of us to stop him to say something, but after feeling an actual hand on his shoulder grab him, he turned around and nobody was there. He has since believed us when we tell him our ghost stories. One night when Mary and Brody were staying the night, Mary and I were in the kitchen getting something to drink. Then we hear tapping on the window. I turn to her and say, "It's the lady in red." Mary then says, "If that's you, tap twice." 2 taps come from the door. Mary says thanks, but no thanks, and leaves the kitchen. Very, very freaky, but more and more of the people who are close to us are having experiences validating everything else that we have experienced. After finding out some very juicy gossip, my sister runs to town to pick up some food for everybody. While she's gone, Brody shows up from work and we began filling him in on the tea. I called Mary to tell her and went into the kitchen. All of a sudden, 3 loud knocks come from the utility room. My mom, Brody, and I freak out and leave the kitchen when Mary asks, "Did something fall?" She had heard the 3 large bangs through the phone. Just today, my mom and I heard the knocks from the kitchen again. This is most of it. If anything else dramatic happens, I will update you. I really want to have a mini seance just to see who they all are. For now, that's all. No, I'm sorry, that's crazy. I can't even comprehend anything that I just read because it was so much, and it was also not that taking me like 20 minutes to read. Either I stuttered a lot and it's like gonna be shortened a fuck ton, or that was the longest story ever. Oh my god, that was crazy. Okay, well, I said I picked out 3 stories, but I think I'm only gonna read 2. I'm sorry. This one says The Ghost That Hated Me. That one just took me so long to read. Oh my god. Hey Courtney, before I start, I want to tell you I love your videos and I look forward to them every week. You're so sweet. For context, I'm a university student in London, England, and I've lived in my current house for the last 6 years. My room is on the 2nd floor of the house, right up the stairs, and my sister's is right next to mine, so I can hear anyone coming upstairs. I also have a mirror sliding cupboard which faces the hallway and the stairs if I leave my room door open. I've always been able to immediately sense any presence when I walk into a room, hearing whispers, feeling slight physical contact like a brush of hand at the back of my neck or subtle nudges, and seeing slight shadows and auras. I've always been respectful and tend to ignore it whenever it happens and move on as normal. A couple years ago, when I used to share a room with my sister because I was scared to sleep alone, I could feel the temperature of her room drop suddenly in the middle of the night and would jolt up due to a feeling of a really strong presence being there. It would move around the room but never come close, and as always, I would ignore it and try and fall back asleep. Then, eventually, my sister started telling me about feeling uneasy in that room. We would hear things falling on their own, and a picture of her and I crashed from the wall and broke one night when we decided to pray and go to sleep. I told my mom the next day and asked her to get someone to cleanse the house, and she did. The medium agreed there was a very dominant presence in that room specifically, but also said it was harmless, which was a breath of relief, so we moved on with our lives as normal until what seemed to me like a normal good night's sleep turned out to be my sister shaking me violently out of my sleep because for her, I was struggling to breathe, my eyes turned backwards, and she witnessed handprints form on my neck as if somebody was trying to choke me to death when there was nobody there except for us two. I don't even want to move on. I don't want to read this. I have no recollection of this happening to me. I saw the pictures and the video she took. We immediately called for a priest to get rid of whatever it was ASAP. That was the point when it all stopped altogether and the room went to being warm and I didn't feel anyone there anymore. I went back to sleeping in my room again and everything was normal until about 3 months later when I heard footsteps walking up the stairs in the middle of the night every single day for a week before I decided to check because it was like mental torture at this point. So I left my room door open one night and salt marked my room with protection sigils? Sorry, I don't know what that word is. Sigils? I did hear footsteps coming up the stairs and stopping in the hallway as if they were just outside my room, staring at me through the mirror. I froze and started praying. I could see a prominent, dark shadow form, even in the darkness of the night in the hallway, like a silhouette of a man standing right in the doorway. I screamed, which woke up my sister and parents, and they came to find me unconscious next to my bed when I was sitting on my bed, frightened, looking at the entity in the mirror before passing out on my bed, waking up from the floor in my mother's lap. I had 2 out-of-body experiences which I did not know how to recover from. Wait, so you were looking at this thing in the hallway through the mirror, whatever, and you were actually unconscious on the floor because, oh my god. I spoke to several mediums and priests, got the house thoroughly cleansed, and stopped having all of those experiences ever since. But that was the incident that scarred me the most. Thank you for reading. Love you lots. No, because the way I would never recover from that. I will save the last story for the next paranormal story video, if that's okay. you don't have a choice. So that's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any creepy stories you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit link down below. I am so happy I got this video done before the vet got here because it's like it's like so relieving. Now I don't have to wait for them to like get here and then leave and do it, whatever. But I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. I don't think I have anything to ramble about. I'm super excited because I always do that. I'm like, I have nothing to say, but I immediately think of something. My birthday is in like 2 weeks. And I have friends coming into town next weekend to celebrate because my birthday's on like a Wednesday, which is lame. So we're celebrating next weekend and I'm really excited. I love having friends come into town. It is so much fun, except my apartment's a fucking shit show right now. I forgot to mention at the beginning that this is all my new stuff because I'm downsizing in my new apartment. I have 2 bedrooms right now. I'm going down to 1, so I needed a new bed because I have a king size bed, a new desk because my desk is fucking huge, and I have to fit all of it in one room, which I don't mind because I'm like, I really am not in my office very much, so to like have a whole room dedicated to that is like insane. So I'm moving into a 1 bedroom, but I'm really excited because I have a rooftop, like a private rooftop. I can't wait to show you guys. I was gonna like not tell you that, but I can't hold it in anymore. It's like a spiral staircase up to a roof. It's crazy. It's so cool. And I feel like it's worth it to get rid of the bedroom to have something like that because it'll be so fun. But my apartment's a shit show right now, so my friends are gonna be staying in this, but whatever. I tried to pack like super early too, so I have like no decorations out anymore because I was just trying to see how much I had and I was trying to donate stuff. So I was like going through everything that I own. I'm a hoarder. I was going through everything I own. I donated so much and I still have way more to donate, so yeah. But okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go. Oh, I just got lipstick on my hand. I love you so much. See ya.